Hey guys, welcome to Beware the Awakening to get Ambi Transport featuring the new Ambipom from Paradox Rift with a hand fling attack doing 20x damage for each card in your hand for 3 colorless, while playing this card with the new Bombirdier EX with the Shadowy Wind attack hitting 130 damage for 3 colorless, allowing you to put this Pokemon and all attached cards back into your hand. We have 2 Xatu for the energy acceleration, 2 Milotic to help us keep our hand, blocking against Iono and Avery, 1 Zoroark for the transformation, and 1 Mimikyu to wall against our opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon V. To help us draw even more cards, we're playing 3 Schoolgirl, 2 Schoolboy, and 1 Norman. We also have 1 Peonia to get any evolutions or energies stuck in a prize, 1 Earthen Vessel and 1 Fog Crystal to search for our basic energies, with 2 Klara and 1 Retrieval to help us keep using Xatu's ability. Finally, we've got 3 energy for the switch, 1 Boss to search for power play, 1 Arezu to search for evolutions with our regular items for the setup, and 1 Pidgeot V to prevent us from decking out with Xatu. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay and see how well this deck works. Okay, let's go for our first game with Ambi Transport. We got the new Ambipom with Hand Fling doing 20x damage for each card in your hand, which is basically the new Indeedee for Paradox Rift. Indeedee's Hand Kinesis is actually still legal for standard, right? Battle styles. 10x damage for each card in your hand for 2 colorless. Now we have a stage 1 equivalent. We used to have, for Paldea Evolve, we had Tinkaton EX doing 30x damage for each card in your hand. Now we got a 1 prize stage 1 Pokemon doing 20x damage for each card in your hand. We had Galarian Persiger as well, which is actually still legal, again, in standard. Galarian Persiger V is obviously a 2 prize card that allows you to do the same effect as Ambipom. It is a basic though, a basic V Pokemon, but you require 1 metal and 1 colorless for that attack to work. So a little bit different. So Xatu is actually making a lot of decks viable. It's actually opening a lot of doors to 1 price decks, to colorless box. Any decks that require those extra colorless, you can actually substitute for the Psychic Energy. And maybe add a couple, Vessels and Basic Energy, Luminous into the list. For Iron Hands as well, I guess Xatu works with anything. Isn't that cool? We've got Mimikyu as well for the wall, doing Safeguard, blocking off EX and Pokemon V's attack damage. They can still play effects of attacks or, their 1 price cards to knock out our Mimikyu, so it's not perfect. And eventually I decided to just, scrap the idea and add a couple of Zoroarks in the deck, just because Mimikyu, there are quite a lot of easy counters for Mimikyu, honestly. They can just do, if they're playing Roaring Moon, they got effects of attacks. If they're playing, Charizard, they can use Charmeleon with the TM evolution. They can attack with the Charmeleon or the Radiant Charizard as well. If they're playing Chin Power, they got Excalibur to knock out your Mimikyu, so it's not really that strong at the moment. Mimikyu, especially if they play a lot of bosses or escape rope, they can, in a single turn, they can just counter your Mimikyu just like that. So I don't think the Safeguard is worth playing, is worth focusing on, just because the ability isn't really that powerful. So now we have only 1 copy of Mimikyu and an extra Zoroark. Zoroark is actually making the deck a lot better, just because if they knock out your Milotic on the bench with a boss, then you can't actually avoid the Iono on their next turn. If they play Iono on their next turn, Ambipom is doing a lot less damage after that. So make sure you're aware of that. Make sure to bench your Zora with Milotic in play, just because they can't play Avery. If they use Avery, they can't force you to discard your bench, because Milotic blocks not just Iono, it blocks Avery. It also blocks Ortega, Sydney, and Roxanne, among other cards. I'm not sure if it blocks any other supporters for now. There are a few supporters that forces your opponent to reveal their hand though, cards like Acerola's Premonition, Choi, and Erika's Invitation, so I'm not sure if those cards actually work. If you don't reveal your hand, does that mean they don't get to draw cards for Acerola? If you don't reveal your hand, does that mean Erika's Invitation doesn't work at all? I don't know. It's a little bit unsure, right? It's kind of on a gray area. Dew Guard is quite a funny ability. But what's sure though is that it blocks Iono, allowing you to keep your hand. It blocks Avery, allowing you to keep your bench, which is a big deal, especially in the meta. So getting to keep your bench as a one price support box, because we need a lot of supports. We need Xatu, we need our Ambipom, we got Mimikyu in play, we need our Milotic, we need Zoroark. You can even bench Menifee if you want, but for this list, I don't think we have a Menifee. We decided just to remove it altogether, just to make this deck a lot more consistent. Snipe decks aren't a big thing right now. I don't think Urshifu Valiant is doing really well for standard. I don't see a lot of people running that list, so if they play Urshifu, might as well just concede, right? There's no point, because we are playing very low HP basics as well. So Natu has only 50 HP, Aipom 60, Feebas has 30 HP, so if they play Iron Valiant with Medicham, can you imagine how many turns they can deck? How many turns they can play Valiant's ability? How many times they can snipe for? And how many prizes they can take on the first turn? They need to switch a lot of times though, but they have not just the Yoga Loop, they also have the Rapid Flow as well, so I don't think we stand a chance against that deck particularly, but any other deck we're fine because we're doing one-hit knockouts like crazy. Ambipom, at the last minute we can do 2 OHKOs to win the game for 4 prize. Before that though, we need to stall and basically play Bombardier to attack. We need to be using our Shadowy Wind and also Mimikyu to attack if we can. Placing 7 damage counter with Ghost Eye, preparing for the knockout with our first Ambipom. So our first Ambipom doesn't need to do 300 plus damage. It doesn't even need 280 damage to collect the first knockout, just because we have 130 with Shadowy Wind. If we play double turbo, we only got 1 turbo now. We got a lot of jet energies, so we can quite easily just retreat with our first Bombirdier and then play double Xatu to attach the energy onto the bench, and then jet it back into the active. We can basically use Shadowy Wind for 130, basically lowering their HP down to 200 plus for us to hit with our first Ambipom. We don't need 15 cards in our hand, we just need 10 cards in our hand to finish off the first EX. If it's a Charizard, we just need 10 cards. If it's a Chinpa, we need a lot less. And then after that, we can think about playing our Schoolgirl, Schoolboy to collect even more cards, using our Xatu. Because we are putting cards back into our hand, we actually get to salvage cards as well by putting the Bombardier and all attached cards, including the Psychic Energies, back into our hand using the Shadowy Winds effect, which is super cool. We also have Klara and Retrieval to get cards back from the discard pile. We got our supporter cards to draw cards as well. Norman, a new supporter, helping you, speed draw as well. But anyways, let's focus on the game at hand. We are up against Charizard with Pidgeot, and it seems like they're getting stuck with no means of getting past our Mimikyu wall. So early game, Avery does actually work though. If you play Fast Carrier for a full bench, they can still force you to discard your, Aipom or Feebas. Obviously don't discard your Feebas, right? Discard your Aipom because you can bench that later. You can retrieve that later with your Klara. We don't have Rescue Carrier. Maybe we should add 1 or 2, maybe we should swap out the Schoolboy or Schoolgirl into a Miriam or a Rescue Carrier. I don't know. I quite like the Schoolboy Schoolgirl combo though. I'll leave it to you guys to decide. It's down to preference really. If you want to play like Avery for this list, if you want to swap out cards for a Rhyme, you can even do Worker, Wallace, or Faulkner. According to what you want. But I'm sticking to this one. I think this one actually works pretty well. Oh, I just remembered that we have Heavy Ball now. We updated the list and now we've got Heavy Ball to get extra cards from the prize, because in one of the games in this video, we got unlucky enough to get prized our Mimikyu, 1 Natu, and another basic Zorua. So we got 3 basics out of 12 in the prize early from the very start, and that means we don't have enough shields. We don't have enough basically sacrificial lambs to get us by the game. If they play enough bosses, they can basically crush us. So just to avoid situations like Counter Catcher, helping the opponent destroy our Milotic block, our Dew Guard, taking out our Xatu on the bench, we actually have our Heavy Ball to make sure we get to have extra copies in play, our a safety Natu, a safety Zorua on our bench to make sure we don't get stuck if they keep targeting our supports with multiple bosses or escape rope even, right? You gotta have enough basics on the bench, especially after you evolve Milotic. If you still can't bench enough, then that's a problem with your deck. That's a problem with the list. So now we've got a lot more Nest Ball, our heavy ball, to get extra cards from the price. We got only 2 copies of our Aipom, but we should be fine if we can bench it at the right time. We got 3 Natu and also 2 Feebas, 1 Mimikyu, 2 Bombirdier EX, and 1 Zoroark. We even have our Peonia to get cards from the price. If we have our Zoroark or any other evolutions stuck there. Peonia doesn't draw you cards though, so you gotta be careful not to play at the wrong time. Be careful with double turbo as well, because we're doing 20 lives for Ambipom. Make sure you count how many cards you have in your hand before actually playing the jet, before putting in the active spot, before attacking with it, just because you may not have enough damage for the knockout. Using your hand fling, 20x is not a lot, so be careful not to use it too early, is all I'm saying. Right, we got Mimikyu. You can also attack. You can still do Ghost Eye, placing 7 damage counters on their active. For only 1 Psychic and 1 Jet, you can quite easily just, jet into the active by playing the Xatu. You can actually play your Bombirdier, keep on cycling it, and putting the Mimikyu back in the active. So there are a lot of options. You don't necessarily have to play the Ambipom until the very end. Until the end, where you have basically at the very least 15 cards in your hand, as we are drawing a lot of cards as well with our supporters, drawing with the ability, retrieving cards using our items and supporters. We would probably be able to do our first one-hit knockout with Ambipom by the time our opponent has drawn their 4th or 5th prize. And then after that, we just need one more turn to finish 1 more EX to win the game. So we got the boss, we got our Peonia to get the boss from our prize. I don't think we need Counter Catcher for this list. I tried Counter Catcher, doesn't work. You gotta wait for the right time to play it, right? And it's making the game a lot more complex. So I prefer just doing the boss than the catcher, honestly. You can still, if you're smart, choose the right moment to use it. But I just feel like, why not just go the easy route? Why make your life so complicated? Just play one boss. Why the hell do you need to play Counter Catcher? The good thing about it is that it's an item though, and that means you get to play it and use a supporter to draw even more cards for Ambipom to smash, maximum damage with its hand fling for 400 plus. But I don't think we need that much. I feel like, we're warranted. We're allowed to play the boss at some point in the game. I've tested his deck multiple times. That one boss is not gonna hinder us much. It's not gonna slow us down at all. Because we got enough draw supports. We got enough draw with the Xatu and Schoolgirl, Norman, even the Arezu getting our evolutions into our hand. So if we already have Xatu and Milotic in play, if we have already evolved them with our Great Ball, Ultra Ball, Aroma, Mesagoza, if we have it in our hand by simply drawing cards as well, we can actually play Arezu later in the game by getting the other evolutions, the other copies of our Xatu into our hand, basically adding damage for Ambipom. So even though we don't need the evolution, at least it's extra cards in our hand, right? Extra cards means extra damage. Anyways, here comes Pidgeot searching for the rare candy for another Charizard. So they're trying to take out our first Mimikyu with the Charmeleon, hitting 90 damage with Fire Blast. But after that, what are they gonna do? We have a second Mimikyu in play, but I feel like we should be attacking with the... I don't know what we should be doing, honestly. So they got Defiance Band for extra damage with Charizard. Very meta build. The Pidgeot though is super annoying because they get free search every single turn. You can basically do boss, non-stop, or even Ayano to kill your hand. We can't block a boss obviously, because Dew Guard doesn't work like that. Imagine if Dew Guard works for boss, everyone would be playing Milotic. Everyone would be running Milotic in their decks. We had Thievul though, Thievul that actually works on the blocks boss on your V Pokemons if your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. So there are a lot of conditions for Thievul's ability. It only works on your V Pokemon. It doesn't work on EXs. It doesn't work on your one price cards. But back when V-Star and VMAXs was a big thing, Thievul was actually quite strong. To attack with something like Radiant Charizard and force your opponent to collect only one prize on their next turn, while hiding your V-Star, your secret weapon on the bench, for you to basically finish them off on your next turn. So it's super fun, right? It's almost like Poncho, but obviously Poncho is better. So after Silver Tempest, I don't think Thievul is viable anymore, especially when Scarlet new EXs come out. You can still run V-Star and VMAXs in your deck without any EXs, but still. The good thing about Thievul though is that your opponent can play Lost Vacuum to cancel the effect entirely, unlike Poncho. Leafy Camo Poncho can be easily removed from play and put in the Lost Zone with Lost Vacuum, and then your opponent can play a boss again on your Regieleki VMAX or whatever you have on the bench, your Inteleon VMAXs, your Leafeon V-Star, whatever you have hiding on the bench. But anyways, that's enough about Thievul. Now they're doing another rare candy to get past our Mimikyu finally with their Fire Blast using Charmeleon. They're investing a lot of energies on the active. They actually spent 2 energy for the retreat cost just now, and that means both Charizards on the bench have no energies attached. So they're gonna have to play Raihan to attack on the next turn. This Fire Blast requires 3 fire energies. They don't have an energy in their hand to attach though. If they do, then they would need the Raihan. So maybe they should have searched for an Arven or supporter cards with the Pidgeot, rather than simply the rare candy evolution. I don't know. That's the funny thing about Pidgeot. Sometimes it destroys your game just because you only are allowed that single search. And if you don't get your supporters, that single search may not be enough. So apparently the Mimikyu wall is working really well for this game. We can't always expect that to happen because, as we said earlier, they can do a boss, escape rope to target your bench supports while you wall off with your Mimikyu, and having nothing but Mimikyu in play is not great because they can deal with it later with their Radiant Charizard. So you can't really expect to win with the Mimikyu. You can't really expect to buy turns either. I'm pretty sure they have enough bosses and escape rope in their deck to counter the Safeguard ability, even 𝓐𝓶𝓫𝓲. They may just play 𝓐𝓶𝓫𝓲 to take it out. So we can't really be focusing on its ability so much. We should not be playing Bombirdier and Mimikyu. We should be doing Bombirdier with Ambipom, because that's the MVP. Hand fling. Okay, we took out the Charmeleon. Now we just need 2 more EX knockouts to win the game. We got Klara ready to go. So right now we have no Zorua on the bench. This is the perfect time where they can do a boss to take out either the Milotic or Ambipom and force it to get stuck. Unable to do a one-hit knockout on the next turn. We would be forced to play either Ghost Eye or Shadowy Wind for not enough damage to kill the Charizard EX, while benching 2 more, Aipom or Feebas, Zorua. So that's why Zoroark is so important. If we don't have a Zoroark, they can just boss out anything and basically trap us on the next turn. If they boss the Xatu as well, we won't have enough energies. We may get the double turbo though, but I'm not sure if we can retreat so easily. If we don't have enough energies on a Mimikyu, we may not be able to retreat into the Ambipom to attack. So Zoroark is super useful for this deck just because you get to transform into anything. If they do a boss on your Milotic, you get to transform back into it. If they do a boss on your Ambipom, you get to transform into another one, basically allowing you to reattach the energy with your Xatu and then do a jet to basically attack with it in your active spot. So that's the power of Phantom Transformation, right? Transforming into either your attacker or the support. No matter what they target, you're always safe. I don't think Zoroark is a legendary though, but I feel like it should be, just because it has a really cool ability to transform, sort of like Mew. The only other Pokemon obviously who can transform is Ditto. It also has a movie of its own, which is, I think, pretty insane. It's the Zoroark Master of Illusion, right? That movie. I still remember it. Why isn't it a legendary? Yo, why is it getting so much attention? They may even come up with a Zoroark EX in a future set. Who knows? Because we had Zoroark GX. They may just give us back a Zoroark EX. It would be pretty fun. It definitely should have a very cool ability, sort of like the one from Evolving Skies. But I'm guessing it would have a broken attack. I don't know why Zoroark is so powerful. For TCG, for Unite, probably even the VG. It's almost like Gardevoir, they love making it super powerful, hyperject. Those mons be on steroids all the time, yo. But we got Roaring Moon now. I can't wait for new future and ancient Pokemons. There's gonna be Temporal. I forgot the new set after Paldean Fates, but they probably would be coming out with new cards with the ancient and future label. Probably new supporting abilities and trainers featuring those signs as well. Can you imagine? Abilities for future Pokemon, abilities for that work only on ancients. That would be so dope. I can't wait for that. Let's hope it wouldn't be something like the Fusion Strike series, because that one was a huge letdown. There's only one set for Fusion Strike Pokemons, and after that, there's no more any supporting trainers or abilities with that Fusion Strike label, which I feel is a complete disappointment. But I think it's going to be something like the Rapid Strike and Single Strike. Before the release of Fusion Strike, they may even come up with a new set that features distorted Pokemons or dystopian Pokemons. You never know, right? Ancient, future, dystopian form. That would be so cool. But anyways, now we have a Miraidon EX matchup for you guys to enjoy with Iron Hands EX and Raichu V. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye from the people. Enjoy life.